On a flight to Beijing, Captain Frank Towns and co-pilot AJ are transporting a number of oil rig executives when a major dust storm rises in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia.
Kindly ask you to remain seated.
Jesus. That's a big one, Frank. Oh, God. Let's go up to 14. I've never seen one go that high before. Looks like it's going higher.
What is this?
Oh, God!
Shit.
What the hell was that?
The storm disables one engine, forcing the plane to spin, swerving through the storm. Kyle falls to his death, and the plane eventually crashes in an uncharted area of the Gobi Desert. The crew discovers that the crash killed Dr. Gerber and Newman.
Everybody okay?
Were you able to send a mayday before we came down?
It'll take them a couple hours to miss us.
You're the one who put the jinx on us.
Oh, shut up.
When the storm ends, the crew buries the dead bodies, and it becomes apparent that they are 200 miles off course with only a month's supply of water. Jeremy suggests he takes a walk to get help, but Ratty explains that July is the hottest month in the Gobi Desert and that he won't make it. At night, Davis goes out to urinate without informing anyone. He eventually trips, falls, and gets lost in a sandstorm where he dies. By morning, they notice the absence of Davis and begin to call out for him, but to no avail. The group panics after a failed search for him, and Kelly argues with Frank, who says that walking into the desert would fail and that the only option is to wait for rescue. When she tells Frank that the group is terrified of waiting, as they could end up like Davis, Frank explodes. A few hours later, the group are seen in a commotion over water, which eventually leads to the water spilling on the desert sand. They initially agreed with Frank's plan to wait for rescue, but reconsiders after Elliot draws their attention, claiming to be an aeronautical engineer. He gains their complete attention when he pitches a radical idea involving rebuilding the wreckage of their plane into a functional aircraft. Elliot insists that there are no component problems and that they have all the parts and tools on board the crashed plane.
What do you know
Frank
about
disagrees with Elliot.
It's impossible.
When Elliot mentions that he actually designs airplanes, the group agrees except for Frank, whom Elliot insists that the design of his reported plane will be flawless, except they have to rely on Frank to fly them out of the desert. Despite the group's support for Elliot's plan, Frank insists they wait for rescue. Frank's refusal causes Little to wander off on his own in protest. When Kelly opts to find him, Frank stops her and instead volunteers to bring him back. As he roams the hot desert, Frank comes across a valley littered with debris and cargo from the aircraft, which fell out when the tail of the plane was torn open. Among the debris, he discovers the bullet-ridden and stripped body of Kyle. Shortly after, Frank finally tracks Little down, but he says he will only go back with Frank if they build the plane, and Frank agrees. Hours later, the duo arrive at the crash site and are welcomed by the rest of the crew. Frank makes sure Elliot understands that he is not taking orders from him.
I think we should build the plane. We start tonight.
That night, the crew begin preparatory steps to craft a new plane out of the old one. Significant progress is made as they work collectively to achieve their goal. Frank informs AJ of the bullet wounds he saw on Kyle's body. They come to understand that they are not alone in the desert. While at work, a massive explosion occurs, and it turns out that half of their fuel reserve is gone.
We're gonna have to work during the day.
What?
The following day, the group continue to build the new plane, and at the end of the day, it seems like it would rain. Everyone is expecting the rain, but it turns out to be an electrical storm. And with the wing of the plane filled with fuel, they run the risk of their new plane exploding. Frank and a few members of the group work together to prevent this from happening. After struggling for several weeks, they finish the plane, and Ratty christens it Phoenix after the legendary bird. AJ discovers that someone is stealing water meant for the group. He pulls out a gun. Then Elliot confesses that he has been taking water because he has been working at night when they are asleep. When Frank attacks Elliot, he claims to be indispensable and in charge of their survival and liberation from the desert. When Kelly goes out to clear her head, she sees a group of smugglers camp just nearby. Later that night, Ian, AJ, and Rodney pay a visit to the camp of the smugglers while Frank sneaks his way from the back. When they try to communicate, Little is seen joining Frank behind the scene.
I think he's offering to share water.
Once Little spots Kyle's watch on a bandit's wrist, he objects, causing the bandits to open fire, wounding Rodney. Frank kills one, and before he could catch a fleeing smuggler, he escapes. The group carries Rodney back to camp, but before they could do much for him, he dies. Hours later, Kelly returns with a smuggler she rescued in the desert. After a short debate, Elliot shoots the bandit in the head, then rebukes the group for wasting water, time, and effort on a futile mission, blaming Frank for allowing it. The duo fight, leading to a punch on Elliot's face, causing him to opt out of the project. Moments later, two members of the group go to plead for Elliot to continue, but he refuses until everyone verbally says please and acknowledge that he is the one in charge.
Who's the boss of everyone?
You're the boss of everybody.
That's nice. You're ready to be reliable now.
By evening, Frank spots two smugglers using a pair of binoculars, but they don't understand why the bandits are not attacking yet. After finishing the plane, Frank discovers that Elliot's aircraft design experience has been restricted to the design of a modern aircraft, much to the anger of everyone.
Airfoil surfaces. It's a glider and I only work on power models.
They're towing our plane!
What is he saying?
We should have waited, man.
While they argue, a storm begins, and Ian quietly grabs a pistol and nearly shoots Elliot before Frank intervenes. In the high winds, Little notices the plane slowly lifting on its own, proving Elliot's design theory, and the group finally quits fighting, taking cover as the storm gets intense. With half of the crafted plane buried in the sand, Frank rallies the group and inspires them to keep working hard so they can return to their loved ones. His motivation pushes them to eventually dig out the Phoenix.
It's kind of beautiful, isn't it?
With only a few attempts left to start the engine, Frank tries a risky procedure to clear the fuel cylinders, but then it works as the engine revs up. The noise of the engine draws the attention of the smugglers. Frank screams out for everyone to get on the plane, and after they board, the smugglers appear in their numbers, chasing after the group, opening fire, eventually disabling the rudder of the plane. While their pursuers get closer, Elliot manages to fix the problem during takeoff. The plane plummets off the edge of a cliff, but the additional airspeed from the fall allows Frank to pull up and fly away, perpetually escaping the bandits. This is Falcon Recaps. Thanks for watching.